Hi, this is Ardis Ozborn. I am very proud to be associated with Resonance Repatterning. We are an organization of people that are really focused on changing the world by changing ourselves. And for many years, we've been doing what we call the World Peace Hologram to focus in on what's going on in the world that we all share and do our very best to balance those energies out. And right now, we're in a very critical time. As we all know, if you've been watching the news at all, you're very aware of all the traumas going on right now in the earth energy that we are all a part of. We don't agree on very much these days, yet there is great agreement right now that the earth is in trouble. We've got these massive fires going on in the western US and Canada. We have hurricanes ravaging the Caribbean, going into Texas, Florida, moving through the southeast and even going up into the center of the US, and more possible hurricanes forming in the Atlantic. There's been massive flooding in India, earthquakes in Mexico, and in very unusual places in the US for earthquake activity like Idaho and Virginia and Boston and Colorado. And people are blaming. When these things happen, people tend to assign blame. So some are blaming it on climate change, and others believe climate change is not a valid scientific study. Some are blaming God. Some are claiming that God is angry with us, and this is just simply the consequences of our actions and our choices that we've been making. And everyone is really looking for understanding, trying to understand how things have gotten so out of control in nature. The Chinese five-element theory is part of resonance repatterning, which is the course that I teach and the work that I practice. And it's all about looking through the lens of an energetic system that has been evolving for the past 5,000 years. And in looking for understanding of what's going on our planet right now, I think some of the five-element theory might be interesting to examine and possibly help us with some sense of being able to do something to make things better. So being part of this resonance repatterning community of practitioners all over the world, we practice and believe that energy imbalances always start within us as individuals. And those imbalances of our internal energy state, or the energy that we live in, simply radiates out to everyone and everything. We're all part of a hologram. And for many years, as I indicated, this organization, the RPA, or Resonance Practitioners Association, have been offering World Peace Hologram sessions to bring our internal energies into alignment so that what we send out energetically is more healing than traumatizing for the earth, which is the energy we all share. So with the understanding that the energy imbalances start within and radiate out, then we look at ourselves and identify what imbalances are manifesting within me that are radiating out and contributing to the trauma that is going on all around us. And with that inner focus and the chance to establish some inner harmony or inner balance, then we are sending the energy out to the universe so that it can find its own harmony and balance as well. So looking at these challenges right now, we don't understand what we can do to make it better. And that leaves us feeling hopeless. It leaves us feeling helpless, oftentimes very sad. And right now I'm sensing with a lot of us, there's a great deal of frustration and anger about the situation. And when we're angry, we always want to, as I said, assign some kind of blame. And that energy of hopelessness, helplessness, sadness, and anger, that energy isn't helping. And it's a natural reaction when things go so out of control and out of balance, but it is not a helpful reaction. So the Chinese five-element system, which is a beautiful way to understand energy, believes that within our core, we're already whole. We are already complete. we are all innocent and we are all good. I know that seems very contrary to how we look at people, especially people that are different than us, and how we look at the world. But the reality is we all come from the same spark, we all come from the same source, and the interpretation of the Taoist teachers, which is the Chinese five-element system, everything is perfect in its wholeness within. And it is our birthright to explore and to experience that inner nature, that inner self, and to do the necessary work that's going to allow our lives to be fulfilling. So the original teaching encourages all of us to live our lives to allow for a healthy alignment of the body, the mind, the emotions, and the spirit. And when that shift takes place, we feel happy, we feel confident, strong, creative, and even wise. And this wisdom starts with an awakening inside of each of us of that energy within. Now, the Chinese call it the Qi life force. And that is the energy that flows within us. We all have that in common. And they look at these energies in terms of categories, and the categories were based on how they looked at nature and how they studied the way nature interacted with itself. And so they came up with these 5 categories. So they are wood, which you see in plants and trees, fire, which is raging at the moment, earth, which is suffering at the moment, metal, which is what we value, what is important to us, and water, which is pretty much out of control at this moment as well with the hurricanes and the flooding. Those energies, although identified in nature, are also within all of us. So how we project those energies to others determines the quality of life that we experience and the health of this hologram that we all live within. And these energies are a continuous creation, and one can't exist without the other. So if these energies are distributed correctly within each of us, then we evolve into that full potential. And it helps us to feel and know that interconnectedness and oneness of everything that is. And right now, Earth is suffering. Water is everywhere, or water is nowhere. So with the raging fires in the Western US and Canada, there is not enough water to put the fire out. And in areas that are flooding from the hurricane and the storms that come with it, there's too much water. And water and earth are out of alignment with each other. And water has no shape. It takes on the shape of what contains it. So earth contains water, and right now earth isn't able to contain it. So water has no control. It's like a 2-year-old in a grocery store with no limits, and they want to go down the candy, cookie, cereal aisle and take everything in sight. It's kind of the visual I get of the hurricanes forming in the Atlantic right now. So this continuous interaction creates balance in nature between the elements and also balance within ourselves. So we could just draw a massive general conclusion here that the earth and water are out of balance within each of us, and that is contributing to the hologram, which we are now experiencing as the massive trauma to the earth that we're all experiencing. So earth is out of balance, water is out of balance. So looking within at our elements, the question I'm asking me is, how is my earth element out of balance, and how's my water out of balance? But primarily my earth. And the reason I want to focus on the earth is that just as the Taoists understood the elements by looking at nature, they also understood that every element has a season. And during the season of that element, that energy is very noticeable. It's highlighted. And the earth element is represented at this particular time of the year, late summer, some call it Indian summer, but it's a transition time between summer and fall. We're not in autumn officially yet. That doesn't happen until a little bit later in September. And we're not really in summer, although many places are experiencing great heat still from the summer. So earth being out of balance within me, I look at that to understand what's going on with my own energy field that I am sending out, and how I can bring some harmony and balance to that so that the signal coming out of me is what we call in the language of repatterning coherent, rather than that non-coherent or trauma that we're all experiencing with nature at the moment. So I've put together, typically I do this as I'm talking, I'm checking from my books what is needed, but I've actually been doing this session for the last couple of days, accumulating information as I've gone along, just tuning into the energy of the planet, of this hologram called Earth that I am part of. So I'm really giving you more the conclusions right now, and also an opportunity to look at your own Earth element if you're interested, and understand where you might be out of alignment, the areas that are getting triggered for you that are simply being played out in the bigger hologram of Earth at this time. So in a moment, I'm going to give you a series of statements. And this isn't a test, you can't fail, and this isn't a contest. It is, however, an opportunity for each of us to get in touch with that energy within us that needs to come into better alignment. So one way to understand our own energy is what we call in resonance repatterning doing a felt sense experience, meaning you make a statement or you repeat a statement in your mind, and you notice how it feels inside of you. When I hear these words, what is happening to my breath? Am I holding it? Am I breathing very shallow? Am I feeling any discomfort anywhere in my body? Is suddenly my stomach a little uncomfortable? Or is my neck tightening up a little bit? Do I have some pain? Or when I hear these words, am I removing myself? Am I checking out a little bit from the experience of really being here in the moment? If the answer is yes to any of those indicators, any of those felt senses within you, it's giving you wonderful feedback, it meaning your higher self, your energy field is giving you wonderful feedback that there's some imbalance going on with you around the frequency or energy of these words that I'm going to be sharing. So without judgment, I invite you to just listen. Listen to your own inner knowing, listen to your higher self, and pay attention to the message, to the communication it's giving you. And this is an opportunity to identify what's out of balance within me, within you possibly, and then to reestablish that inner sense of harmony. So this is a series of statements I'm going to make. So I'll go slowly enough for you to hear and hopefully respond internally to the energy or frequency of these words. And all these statements are an explanation of Earth, so that if we can come into alignment with these different words, these different frequencies of Earth, we're going to have peace inside of us, and that's going to contribute to the peace all around us. I take care of myself. I feel grounded and centered within. Just feel that one. I don't worry much about what others think of me. I have a strong sense of myself, and I see myself as whole and complete, just as I am. Being of service is important in my work and in my life. I hold a high level of integrity. I am accountable for what I say and what I do. I take responsibility for my thoughts, my beliefs, and my actions. I know how and when to ask for support. I enjoy supporting others when they ask. Others feel safe with me. I'm understanding. I'm gentle. I savor the sweetness of life. I feel grounded in reality rather than lost in drama. So just take a moment to let those statements filter through and notice how you are in general with those descriptions of your earth element energy. If you relate to most of these statements, at least consciously, that indicates a healthy earth element energy within you. And when you come from that balanced state, you're going to show up as a person who is centered, responsible, calm, sympathetic to others. You can identify with their suffering and not get lost in it because you have healthy boundaries and you are able to take care of your own needs in balance with helping others. And if you can relate to most of those statements, then you are learning from all your rich life experiences and you easily grow into maturity. Because earth element is a time of growth. It's probably the most growth we have in our lifetime. Because wood element, we're young, we're just figuring stuff out, we're learning our identity. In fire element, we're growing our relationships and reaching out to groups and individuals to understand ourselves in terms of others. And by the time we get to the earth element, that's when we're settling. That's when work becomes very important, and we usually have our greatest successes at that time. And we also establish our family, our community, our place in the world. And we come into maturity when we look at our life with no regrets and realize that everything that has happened serves some purpose. I might not have liked it all, but I learned and I grew. And we call that in the 5-element system reaping the harvest. So I can reap the harvest of those rich life experiences, the good, the not so good. And they add to my maturity, my sense of me. And that allows us to come into life from a place of solidity, not necessarily fixed. We have to have flexibility always, but we're solid within who we are and we're reaching for more. That's a great place to be. If you were not able to relate to some or most of those statements, it's a message from your system telling you that your earth element is where you're going to experience a great deal of stress because your earth is depleted. And when we have a depletion of our energy, which comes from stress, which comes from life, we go into worry and we go into anxiety pretty consistently. We may lose our sense of self and be looking externally for validation instead of internally. We may feel disoriented when any challenge comes our way. So think about that description in terms of these hurricanes and fires and floods that are going on around us right now. Someone that already has a depleted earth is going to really go into a spin. Because remember, Earth is spinning on its axis and it's hurling through space, but we don't have the sense of that insecurity because of the gravitational pull of Earth. It gives us that sense of safety. And Earth needs to feel that life is safe and predictable. And I would say the natural disasters right now are really challenging that concept of Earth. To be able to stay centered within yourself when everything around you is in spin takes a lot of very coherent earth element energy. When Earth is out of balance, which you would know by how you reacted to some of those statements that I shared with you, then your ability to give and receive goes out of balance as well. You may give too much, you may give too little, and you will look back on life not with the joy of the experience and the growth you went through, but rather the bitterness of what you did not have or what you did not experience. Earth by nature is incredibly abundant. Everything we need comes from the earth. We call the earth the womb and the tomb. We come from earth, we go back to earth, and everything we need comes from earth. So when we don't relate to that sense of abundance, then we come across as very needy and greedy and clingy. So if any of those hit their mark, please don't take it as a judgment. It's simply an opportunity to understand that your energy is out of balance, as mine may be out of balance as well, and that we need to pay attention to that and bring it into alignment, which is what we do in Repatterning. We bring everything back into alignment as best we can. So another aspect of the earth element is it's a time of transition. It traditionally was a transition between one season and another, and in our Western model, it's morphed over time into representing this time of the year that I referenced, that we call Indian summer. Earth is our foundation. It's our home. We call her mother. So what happens when mother, our home, is threatened? Well, the natural reaction for many of us is when we're threatened, we push. We push against the threat. But the law of energy says that when we react in that pushing against it way, we only strengthen the threat. We only make it bigger. So the answer may be to just simply do the best I can, stay in my center, stay calm, and simply relax into what I call it greater energy. Some may call it God energy, others call it nature pitching a fit and raging right now. I think we can all agree it's an energy that is larger than me. So since it's larger than me, I can only do what I can do. Give it my best effort, and then I have to let go of the struggle. So if you're following the news and you're watching and listening to all these examples of what's going on right now, we have an opportunity, don't we, to focus on what will energize us and therefore energize everyone. And for me, it's the way people are reacting. And I'm not talking about the negative stuff. I really want to focus on the positive right now. So many, many people, millions of people, responded to the warnings and evacuated. Other people that elected to stay boarded up carefully. Others opened their homes or their establishments to take in people trying to flee. People came together. People came together, and they're continuing to come together today to help and support each other. And that is a beautiful example of a coherent way to respond to a threat. You can rail at it all you want, and that isn't going to change it. It's only going to deplete you. And the aftermath of these threats is very telling of the human condition. I believe we're hardwired to help, we're hardwired to serve, and we're hardwired to do what is right, to come from integrity. And when I look at the news and I look at what's happening, I look at the first responders, I look at people helping people, people helping animals. I look at the global reaction of sympathy and empathy and offers to help. And it warms my heart. It makes me believe that the human condition is salvageable in spite of the choices we make to harm each other. We are hardwired to do the right thing. And if given a choice, most people will. It's very natural and very human to get caught up in the drama of it all. And we really do know that that doesn't help anything. It may make you feel better in the moment, but it doesn't heal. It doesn't heal the wounds. It doesn't heal the imbalances. That happens with action. And that is what I'm delighted to see unfolding in the world around me as people going into coherent, caring action. So the earth element is all those things I've just said. And that energy expresses through two major meridians. And the one that I've checked that we need to look at in terms of getting some insight and some balance is the stomach meridian. So we know the stomach takes in food and it breaks it down for energy. And then the spleen, which is also part of Earth, distributes that energy throughout the body. So the body, the mind, the emotions have what they need to function. But stomach is about taking in nutrients. And I looked at it in terms of, do we need something on a physical level to change here? And I got, no, we don't. And do we need something emotionally, mentally, in terms of relationships? And I got no to all those categories. The one category that checked very strongly that we need to look at is spiritual qualities. And here's the negative statement that came up. And I think it's quite telling in terms of how we could go and how we have gone in the past, but don't need to do any more of that. Here's the statement: I am selfish. I am self-absorbed. I am concerned only with my own needs, my own comforts, my own interest. And I am clinging to things. That's the energy that is underneath this energy on our hologram right now in terms of the earth element through the stomach meridian. So we always look for the balancing energy. So the balancing energy in that spirit level category is this one. I give completely and I am recharged. So I have even more to give. So that is the shift that I have checked for this session that is going to give us a new way of healing the earth traumas. And the particular point that I've checked we collectively need to wake up the energy of is 0.36 for those of you that have studied with us. We call this leg 3 miles. And this is a stomach meridian point. It's right under the kneecap, right under the tip of the fibula bone. And this particular point gives us a lot of endurance, physically, mentally, and within our spirit. It gives us tremendous stamina. That seems to be a very good one right now for the world. It brings a feeling of stability, a feeling of security, especially when we go into worry, when we start worrying about harvesting anything good from what we've done or anything good from what has been done to us. And when we feel that no benefit could possibly come from what has gone on and the effort we've put into it. So this point helps to strengthen our resolve to keep moving forward, and it keeps us grounded and energized for that journey. It's also what is called in acupuncture, it's called a Harari point. And that simply means it's a very important point on that meridian to bring that earth energy to the stomach. And it's even strengthened more if you do it at the season of that element, which we're in. So that's one good point in our favor. We're in the earth element season time of late summer. And also the time of day. And where I am right now in Arizona, we're just at the high time, coming to the end of the high time for this meridian. So our timing is very good. Actually, even spilling over a little bit into being able to distribute that energy throughout our body-mind system. So we've got that alignment. We've got the season right and we've got the time right. So we're at the high time of energy for the stomach meridian, which will help support us in nurturing ourselves better, caring for others better, and harvesting the rich experiences that we're all part of, and being able to stay in our calm and in our center as we're doing it. So I've got a book here that has a drawing of the stomach meridian, and that's going to stand in for all of us. By me simply saying that I'm putting it online, that this drawing is going to stand in for the stomach meridian 0.36. And I'm checking that we need it on the left side. So left side is more about receiving, whereas right side is more about doing. So we need to receive this energy and allow our internal energy state to fill up so we have what we need to reach out to others in their time of need. And I'm going to include all of you that have asked to be included. And also anyone watching this now or in the future, there is no time, we make it up. So anything we're doing now is good. And whenever you come across this, this point will be helpful for you as well. So I'm doing it on the behalf of all, and hopefully you'll experience some healing from it. While I do the point, I invite you to just close your eyes and really do some nice slow breathing in and out through your nose. Nose breathing relaxes you. And we all need to relax into that calm and into that centered place. So breathing in and out through your nose to really stay connected to yourself. And I'd really like you to visualize yourself, the earth element within you, as being very balanced and in harmony for you. And then that automatically is going to radiate out to offer harmony and balance to the earth right now. So that's your responsibility. And I'm just going to take my tuning fork and I simply activate it to get the vibration going. And I'm just going to hold it on this proxy acupuncture drawing of the stomach meridian. I'm holding the tip of the tuning fork and allowing that vibration to go right into that point 36 on the left side to bring this balance we're all needing to our earth element at this time. And you are visualizing your earth element in perfect harmony, giving and receiving, reaping your harvest, staying centered and calm, and embracing the abundance and goodness in this connection to everything. Keep breathing through your nose. Really allow that to center you. Yeah, that's shifting very nicely. I tend to feel the shift inside of me, and I'll just confirm it with my muscle indicator. Yes, we have made that shift. So just allow a moment for integration of this beautiful stomach meridian point. And when we finish a session, we always look back and try to connect the dots to see what is the pattern here. What was the message of this particular session? And I started out wanting to do something to help the earth right now and knew that we were in earth element time, so it was a good time to be doing the session. And the pattern of it appears to me anyway to be an imbalance within all of us around the conversation of being too involved with our own self and too overly focused on meeting our own needs and acquiring stuff as a way to feel more safe and secure and that life is predictable. And then the balancing energy that we collectively appear to need is to move into generosity and giving more freely of our time, of our resources, and allowing that natural generosity. Again, I think we're hardwired this way, to allow that natural generosity to recharge us. And rather than look for external things to give us that boost or give us that high, you know, I love this toy, I love this gadget, I love this, I need this, I want this. And there's nothing bad with wanting things, I don't judge that at all. But to bring more balance between that and our natural generosity to reach out and feel that we're needed. Earth needs to be needed, and that we have something to offer the earth. And allowing that generosity to recharge us and become that boost rather than looking for an external thing to do it. And the natural disasters going on all around us, in many ways, are teaching us to let go, aren't they? You can't stop it. You can't stop the hurricane. You can't stop the floods, tsunamis. You can't stop the fires. You can't stop them. You can put your effort into safety, and making good decisions about how to allocate resources. You can put your effort into going into action and contributing to the cleanup and the rebuilding everywhere. And yet the message is let go, and reassess what really matters. You know, when you have to leave your home because a fire is at your doorstep or the hurricane is coming, it puts everything in perspective. What am I going to take with me? A bigger question for the end of life. What am I going to take with me? And the answer is the same in either scenarios, isn't it? I'm going to take the love, I'm going to take the memories, I'm going to take the experiences. And if you're able to take those you love with you, then you have the true treasure. The rest is stuff, and stuff can be replaced. So people are behaving well right now. People are behaving admirably right now, selflessly, helping and caring for those in need, and then taking care of themselves and resting and recovering so they can go back and help some more. The earth is amazingly resilient, and she will heal. Our job is to keep our internal earth element in balance and to radiate that coherent energy into this hologram called Mother Earth, this beautiful planet that we share. So I also checked that for those that are interested at the completion of this session, which is now, that we could make a commitment to a positive action. And that's something we can all do ourselves that will really support integrating the session into our reality. And the action is to visualize yourself as whole and see that energy of wholeness radiating out to everyone and everything in this beautiful interconnectedness called life. Really seeing yourself as whole and radiating that wholeness out so that we bring that beautiful, coherent, harmonious energy to the hologram that we live in together. And I'm checking that it would be most beneficial to do this once a day for 6 days. That would be starting tomorrow if you're live here with me now, or the day after you watch this would be day 1. And to take time to do that visualization about yourself once a day for 6 days to get the optimal benefit of this session. So again, I appreciate the time that any of you give to listening to this repatterning. I really enjoyed putting this together over the last couple of days as my contribution. I live in the desert, so I haven't been affected by a lot of these things, but my heart has been with those that are struggling. So I've been doing this session as my contribution, and I am representing World Peace Hologram through the Residence Repatterning System, the RPA membership, a dedicated group of practitioners who are making the world better by making themselves better. So again, my name is Ardis Ozborn. I thank you for your time and have a beautiful day.